Hey guys, it's Robin. Thanks for tuning in. So as I was walking to work the other day, I was walking by our EB Games, which is kind of like our GameStop, I guess it is. I think they're even owned by the same company. And on it, they have this big board that talks about all the games that are coming soon. And you stop for a second and you look and you're like, wow, there are so many good games coming out. I mean, it's been a while since we've had this kind of crop of games coming out at the same time. I think back to maybe I believe it was March of '09 where you had BioShock and Battlefield Bad Company 2 and God of War all coming out at the same time. This is maybe even better than that. Speaking of Bad Company, if you're an FPS fan, we have Battlefield 3 coming out and also a new Call of Duty title, and I forget the sort of subtitle for it. Personally, I think that the Battlefield, and I think most experts would agree with me, is a much better game. It looks better, it feels better, and everything. However, they would say that Call of Duty will perform better in the store just because it's more comfortable. People know the franchise. Casual gamers are much more a fan of it. So yeah, FPSs. There's Arkham City coming out, the new Batman game. This, I guess, the follow-up to Arkham Asylum looks absolutely amazing. The combat is so cool again. There's even more freedom to do things and to explore. I mean, the great villains like Joker and Harley and Penguin and Riddler and Bane, they're all there. All that is able to be there, they're able to be played as well in that game. That game was definitely high on the list, and I've heard some people actually talk about it as being a Game of the Year game. I don't know if it's quite going to reach that title. My pick for Game of the Year that I haven't had a chance to play yet, but is the new Skyrim, so Elder Scrolls game. I mean, Elder Scrolls has a history of winning Game of the Years, Oblivion and stuff like that. It looks absolutely incredible. They've kept the same elements of being going around to towns and to talk to people, and you can, you can shoot a bunch of people in town and try to run away from the guards. You can go up into the forest and, kill random bandits. Everything is explorable and playable, up mountains, all that sort of thing. The gameplay itself looks very cool. The dual yielding of your hands. If you haven't had a chance yet to see some of the gameplay, go onto the blog. We have like 4 or 5 videos up there that shows some of the gameplay. Game looks absolutely amazing, and that would be my pick of the games so far. But there are others too. There's a new Zelda game coming out. There are some sports games coming out for those of you who like that genre. So many games and so little time and so little money is definitely the biggest problem there. Well, I haven't done a figure review in a while, so I figured I would do a review of this little fellow right here. My favorite Star Wars character, Boba Fett, the Mandalorian himself. I got this particular Boba Fett at the local comic book store for about $45 Canadian. Not too bad a deal. I would actually give it probably a 7 on the value of this figure, and you'll probably see why. You'll see why in a couple of minutes here. The actual packaging itself is a nice black box like this. In the back here you can see it says Boba Fett, and it kind of shows him in action. On the front there's a side there's a big kind of stand-up thing of him. Very sleek, very black like Star Wars. Very easy to store because it's a nice box. There's not like packaging falling everywhere. Actually, if you look at, I'll let you look at the inside too here before we open it up, pull it out. It comes in kind of a dual plastic case, so it's well protected, and down below is the instructions and everything. So the packaging of this, I would give it probably a 7. Nothing too special, but no real flaws in it. The actual look of the figure itself is where I think this figure excels by far. You can see right here, there's his head, and it has the little antenna thing there. The back is the backpack, all just great detail. Pretty seamless too. You'll see that there's not really many joints or anything. The rope is actually kind of like a canvasy rope kind of thing, which is very cool. The look of this figure, I'm definitely going to give a 9. The actual look of it is one of my favorites that I have in my collection. Now, where this figure kind of falls down a little bit is its ability to be posable and to move. You do get 2 extra arms. They don't really add too much. It's essentially the same pose. If you actually see here, you physically can't really move much. Like, that's about all I can do to the movement of this figure. You can kind of pull the hand away a little bit, but kind of just goes back. Yeah, the legs don't bend at all. I don't know how I can see that. So posability, I'm only going to give a 3, and the biggest reason why it's even getting a 3 for posability is that the pose itself is a classic kind of Boba Fett pose, but also it comes with this. And this is a stand for it that's magnetic. And one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to action figures is that they don't have a good stand, so they're always falling over. And if you look at the bottom of him here, you'll see there's two magnets. So he's actually able to stand up on the stand quite good, and you can actually kind of shift it around a bit and it won't fall over. My friends have like attached them to my fridge before and stuff like that. So for posability, mostly because of the stand, I will give it a 4. Overall, I give this Boba Fett an 8 out of 10. It's pretty good value. It looks really good. The stand is nice. Biggest downside is posability is terrible, and that's why it only gets an 8 for me. All right, last but certainly not least, for those of you who are fans of MMOs or you play a lot of online games with other people, PvP, that sort of thing, the new season of the Guild, so I guess this is season 5 now? I should have checked this. Season 5 finished last Thursday. And just to give you a quick summary of it, they're at a convention. The guild is at a convention, and there's tension, and the game that they are playing, maybe some changes that they don't like. It was a great season. Maybe not my favorite, but one of the things this season definitely had going for it was the crazy amount of guest stars. Without giving too much away, there was Nathan Fillion, Stan Lee, some of the Team Unicorn girls, obviously not Michelle because she was in the season before. Richard Hatch was in it. What's his name from Sandman? Niles Gaiman. Make sure I pronounce that name properly. I'm sure there was more stars. I can't even think of them right now, but just absolutely amazing number of guest stars. Some really, really, really funny lines, and more just Felicia Day being awesome and the whole guild cast being awesome. So if you haven't had a chance yet to check that out, go to the website. I will put a link down there somewhere, right below that button that you press like. And yeah, definitely check that out because it's absolutely hilarious. And maybe I'll get a chance to do an actual review of it. But yeah, well, I'm running a little longer than normal here, so I guess I will wrap this up by saying, so say we all.